I transitioned into this role from working in a tertiary hospital environment where I was a pediatric registrar and where I was working in pediatric intensive care. And the main contrast for me was that I went from working in a very strong team environment where I knew exactly where my boundaries were and what my role was and how far I could go. And I knew exactly who I could lean on. And I had that constant support from that environment to sitting in a room by myself in a clinic in an Indigenous community. And the contrast was really strong and it really hit me. And I found myself trying to figure out where those boundaries were again. You know, how far do I go here? How involved do I get with these stories? And the kind of stories that I was hearing on an everyday level were quite confronting. So ranging from domestic and family violence to sexual violence to people who were incredibly sick to suicides. It was a constant trickle of these very intense stories. And I started finding myself getting very involved with those stories and really living them. I think that it was really subtle things, so coming home and still carrying those emotions with me. Whereas previously I'd had a very nice way of sort of closing my, session for the day. When I left the hospital doors, I would walk out and that was it. That was my symbol, when I crossed that boundary, I was like, okay, I'm not that person anymore. I can continue being me. But that was harder. And so I found myself at home sort of still thinking about things. Because you're alone in your room, you start to ruminate. And so I decided to go back to something very simple that I'd actually remembered doing with my mum. She asked me one day, Daria, who are you? And I was like, I'm Daria. And she was like, no, Daria, think about it. Who are you? What makes you up as a person? What are the things that make you, that come together to make you who you are? And I just had that come into my mind, and I thought, okay. So I sat down and I wrote down who I was. I grew up in a non-English speaking background. I speak Ukrainian. I play music. I have a dog. There's just simple things that help you to regain who you are and help you to remember your story. And this is who I am, and this is where I work. And just to be mindful that I have my own story too. I don't have to carry everyone else's story. Yeah, and that really helped.
And were there other things that you did to help improve your well-being and yourself?
Well, there's always basic things you can do, like making sure that you have a good routine, making sure that you do exercise every day. So I caught the Cairns Triathlon Madness and started to train for triathlons. I'm not going to do them. I'm just imagining maybe. So I was running and riding and swimming and going to the gym and just enjoying good food, eating healthy food.